Okay, last week we dug into modes. As an advanced player, I would have to bet that you're pretty interested in these. They're a lot of fun, and they are actually essential to understanding certain songs and certain styles of music. The king of all the modes, at least in the United States or in Western music, is the Mixolydian mode. Mixolydian is the thing that's going on when you're listening to Jimi Hendrix or Led Zeppelin or Stevie Ray Vaughan or Eddie Van Halen much of the time, most of the time. Anything, Boston, the band Aerosmith, any of those big classic rock bands, there's a heavy, heavy dose of Mixolydian guitar playing. There might be some other modes in there as well, but let's just focus on the Mixolydian stuff right now. And here I'm going to show you just what's going on, what makes a scale Mixolydian, and then in a minute I'll show you some shortcuts, because when you first start digging into these scales, you start going, oh, so I have to learn all of that to play in Mixolydian? I'm just going to show you some scale stuff to get you to understand it. But then in the next lesson, in lesson 2, I'm going to show you some shortcuts that are the basic shortcuts that all those aforementioned heroes use in most of their riffs. And they're real easy. So it's kind of cool. All right? So here we go. With the Mixolydian mode, the first thing I want you to understand is just a regular major scale. And I'm going to play in the key of A for this one. Okay? And so I'm going to play an A major scale starting at the 5th fret. Okay? There we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, A. A. In A, I mean. Okay? Now, if I were to play in that same position and play A, but I want to play the Mixolydian scale, there's going to be a change. I'm basically going to change. Over here I had a major 7th, 1 fret below my root note, but Mixolydian has a flat 7th, a minor 7th, or a dominant 7th. Okay? Here's the Mixolydian mode in A. Okay? Not much difference. Okay? That's pretty much it. That's the thing that makes the difference. But I want you to understand the Mixolydian mode also as it refers to or relates to an A minor scale, because I'm going to show you some tricks that kind of bridge the gap. All right? All right? If I play an A minor scale right here at the 5th fret, okay? Back to my Mixolydian. When I compare major, minor, and Mixolydian, they have a lot of common notes and some things that are different. The Mixolydian scale has a major 3rd, so it's kind of more closely related to a major scale. But it has a flat 7th the way a minor scale would have. Okay? So you see how it's kind of a little bit major, a little bit minor. Okay? The main Mixolydian scale pattern, if you took that previous lesson where we talked about modes and we talked about the 7 diatonic scale patterns, and we think about each one of those 7 as being a mode in itself, even though I told you really they're all useful no matter which mode you're playing. But the one that you might come up with as the main Mixolydian pattern would be the pattern that I would refer to as the 5th diatonic scale pattern, because Mixolydian is a mode that is built starting on the 5th note of a major scale. And so, the main Mixolydian pattern for A, it really turns out to be a D major scale, because A is the 5th scale pattern of D. Here's the main Mixolydian pattern played in A. If you think you want to play in Mixolydian, you might think, well, I got to learn that scale pattern. And, well, yeah, you should know that scale pattern anyway, because you should have learned it as one of your 7 diatonics. But then starting to focus on, oh, well, if I need Mixolydian, that means I've got to play in the key of D, and I've got to put this pattern over there. That's complicated. And I did struggle with it that way for a couple of years. And I'm telling you, there's a shortcut. Let's go on to lesson 2.